Pretty little shorty coming out of the suburbs. Don't think it's sweet, boo, you can still get murked. My name all in your mouth, bet it tastes like dessert. Mad I got the juice and you dry like the desert. Why you mad, eh? Cause I'm in my bag, eh? Worry about me, worry about your showing price tag. See me glowing up in naughty.
Hello. Welcome to the very first episode of KB's Community. I am here with my friend and my first guest co-host, Chris Alexander.
Yes. Thank you for having me, KB.
You're welcome. Yeah. Chris is a radio personality, educator, and all-around dope person. So, can we get you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little more in depth?
A little about Chris Alexander, yes. All right, let's start way back in the day. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, to Gerald and Sandra Alexander. I have 5 sisters. Lived in Cleveland for many years. I was really into sports, basketball, football, and baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport. And I hated school. That's the funny thing. I did not like anything about school. So I used sports to really propel me, I think, and help me to get to, I think, a level or a point where I felt confident in myself. Excuse me. So I used that. I was actually in school. I got put back a grade. I was also diagnosed as having a learning disability and a behavior disability. So I was just, I was one of those kids that just didn't care about anything. And I always say that hip hop raised me. Hip hop music, rap music. Back then it was rap music. KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, Public Enemy, LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? All that raised me. And from that point, we moved to Chicago. My dad got a new job. It was in Ohio. It was Ohio Bell, and then it was Illinois Bell in Chicago, Illinois. So we moved there, went to high school there, then decided, okay, things just started to turn around. So let me go back. I hated school, but things started to turn around. Okay. And then got to Illinois, went to high school there, then went to college, went to an HBCU, went there for 2 years, Norfolk State University, Norfolk State, Spartans, behold the green and gold, all that good stuff. And then I transferred from there to Illinois State, a PWI, predominantly white institution. So I went to an HBCU.
So how is that different?
Ooh, that's funny you would ask, because I was just talking about this not too long ago. Really big difference. Like when I was at Norfolk State, we were moving and grooving through the streets. You could do what you want. You saw all your people, all that good stuff, all the time. Go off campus, is still nothing but black folks around. Then when you transfer to a PWI, predominantly white institution, Illinois State, it hit me in the face. And my cousin actually was at NSU, Norfolk State with me. We both, we transferred along with my sister and her boyfriend. I'm the only one, once we transferred to Illinois State, I'm the only one that stayed there.
Oh, really?
And got up out of there, yes.
Okay.
It was heavy because the first time we got there, when we got to Illinois State, my cousin didn't know that it wasn't an HBCU. He thought it was an HBCU.
Really?
Yeah, so he was like, yo, where are all the black folks?
Shock,
yeah. But I knew. He was like, where are the black folks? I was like, dog, this is a PWI. He lasted maybe a month, and then he left and went back to New York. Okay. So, and I didn't see him again till, my wedding.
Oh,
so,
wow.
He was like, I'm out.
And he got out of there. He really got
broke.
out of there.
He broke, yeah. So, I went to ISU, and it was just my first day there. I linked up with some people I knew from high school. We were walking around the campus, and we walked into a dorm, and we were outside. There were 4 different rooms around there. All the doors were closed, and then all of a sudden we hear I assume is a white guy. He said it was something so-and-so, effing niggers. We were like, yo, we banged on doors. No one came to the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were like, yo. So that, it really hit me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And from that point, I just continued on, went to school, and I was like, I'm going to put my head down, get these grades, and get up out of here. And that's what happened. So
what made you decide to stay when your family and friends left?
Great question again, KB. Let's go. You know what? I think it was just at that point, coming from Norfolk State, I was just like, I don't know. I'm just going to do it. No matter what, I'm going to get these grades. And it was, me thinking back to when I was younger, like, it was tough for me. All right, let me make this happen. Let me
Yeah.
do this. And it was something for me, but to show my parents like, yo, I'm doing this. I can do this.
Mhm.
You know, like I said, I grew up 5 sisters, no brothers. So I felt like I was always the one that was kind of the outcast and the one that always got in trouble and never really succeeded at anything other than sports. So when I got that, I was like, cool. You know, so
Yeah.
that's what helped me stay with it and get up out of there.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So from there, excuse me, moved back to Chicago, worked all over Chicago. I did so many different things in Chicago. You know, got fired from a couple places. I was sitting down with one of my best friends, my best friend Rod. He lives in Georgia now. He was like, dude, he said, what do you want to do with your life? I was like, what? He was like, for real, what do you want to do? He said, I see you as teaching. I see you teaching, and I see you going to graduate school, the same grad school that your mom went to in Boston. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. We were sitting down drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then later that week, there was an information session from the same school that my mom went to. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy. It was in Schaumburg. And I was like, yo, I can make that. So I went there, got lots of information. It was promising. I was like, yo, I'm going to apply. I applied, got into grad school. I was like, yo, I'm going to Boston. So months later, I flew to Boston, started my grad program, and shoot, I got up out of there with a master's degree. I still don't even really believe it. I'm like, yo, for real? I'm like, I'm old as heck, but I'm like, I got a master's degree. That don't even make sense to me. But I always, with the students that I work with now, and I'm sure we'll get into that, I always tell them that you can do anything. If I can do it, shoot, anybody can get a degree. You know what I'm saying? Let alone like a master's. What? So yeah, it was just hard work. And that's what I preach all the time, KB.
That is a lot of dedication.
Yes.
And then to feel uncomfortable in your environment, but to be so dedicated that you're like, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to show everybody that I can stick this out and that I can succeed. I think that's dope.
Yep. And that translated all the way through like what I do now. And, you know, we can get into that now, but like I said, I ran around Chicago, did so many different things, went to grad school, and then I started teaching in Chicago. So I taught at Chicago Public Schools. I worked as a college advisor at city colleges of Chicago, Wilbur Wright College on the north side of Chicago. So worked there, worked a little bit at Malcolm X on the west side. Then I looked up and, you know, I have a 20-year-old son. So I'm putting my age out there. Yeah, I'm old, but I got a 20-year-old son. And you know, I was paying child support for him, and I was going broke. And I was like, yo, I gotta, you know, it was my girlfriend at the time. I was like, yo, we gotta leave. I don't know how we gonna make it here in Chicago. So we ended up moving here to Milwaukee. And, you know, things just started to change once we got here. Bought a house, got married, bought a house. And now I'm working with students. And my son, you know, like I said, he's 20 years old. Me and him have a wonderful relationship. Even if there were people trying to, you know, ensure that we didn't have a great relationship. Yes, we do now. That's my little guy. Looks just like me, doing things just like I did.
He does look just like
you know what I'm saying?
Twin for sure.
You know what I mean? Like just cool little cat. That's my Cameron. That's my man's. So here, just working with students. I work for a non-for-profit all in Milwaukee, and I'm a lead scholar advisor, and I work with scholars, students from UW Milwaukee and Wisconsin Lutheran College, and they're first generation scholars, students of color, low income, and I high achieving, and I just try to help them navigate through college. So all that hard work and, you know, persevering and making sure that you can do it, that's what I preach, and these students are dope. These students are amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a great mentor too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know,
and he's all around a cool guy. So I mean, who wouldn't want somebody like him to mentor them? So,
for real.
You know, you got to look up to the people who you want to be like, and so it's great that you are just a good person.
Thank you. So. Thank you. You mentioned looking up, KB. Like, you know, my both parents, my mom and my dad. And it's funny that we're here now, because on the way over here, I don't know why it popped into my head. I was watching a podcast yesterday. the I Am Athlete. It used to be, now it's the Pivot podcast. It's some of those ex-athletes, Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor.
Okay.
And they were talking to Cam Newton, and they were all talking about where they came from. And I think Channing Crowder looked at Ryan Clark and said, yeah, man, you from, you came up good. You went to private school. And Ryan Clark was like, nah. He was like, I had good mentors. My parents worked 2 and 3 jobs to get us to make sure that we didn't have to grow up in the projects and grow up in the hood and stuff.
Right.
That spoke to me, because that's kind of how it was with my parents. My dad worked 3 jobs at times. My mom worked 2 jobs, put herself through college, and just was that role model for us.
Yeah.
So I always go back to that. Like,
that's awesome.
That's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So really big. Really
Very
big.
cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do related to radio, related to music. Let us in that world a little bit.
Okay. I'm also an on-air host with Radio Milwaukee. So 88.9 and hyphen. With 88.9, I'm an on-air host every Sunday, noon to 4 p.m. So tune in, radiomilwaukee.org. Every Sunday, noon to 4, hit play to listen, and you'll hear me on there. With my show, I just try to preach, fun, love, and motivation. I try to give people fun, love, motivation, but I also have a celebrating greatness segment that I do at 1 o'clock every day, 5 past 1, so 1:05. 2:05, I do a sports segment. And then 3:05, I just try to connect people. So I'm all about making connections. If you haven't talked to a person or someone in a long time, hey, hit them up. Now it's time to connect. Hit up that person. Send a text. Make a call to 2 people today. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear me tomorrow. Tune in. I don't know when this is going to air, but every Sunday, tune in and you'll hear that.
Yes.
So
I can say Chris has been one of my day one supporters.
No doubt.
This man has been playing my music for a couple years now. We just chat about Milwaukee music and local artists. He's just knowledgeable about all that.
When I hear great music and I meet great, amazing people, I'm like, yo, we're gonna celebrate them. Everyone deserves to be celebrated, but the ones that are out there doing what they should be doing, and that are dope with it and smooth and cool, I'm always going to put them up on a pedestal. So I always play your music. And, you and I were talking about something else. I don't know if I should mention it, but we were talking about a new song coming out, and I'm going to play that. Yeah, I'm going to play one of your new songs, Matt. Yup, very soon.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Most definitely. So, yeah, when you hear a dope artist and, again, you're around people that are just doing great things. And I know that, I don't know if you're still doing it, but you work with scholars and students as well.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about. That just drew me closer to you. And I'm like, we're going to put you up on the pedestal.
That's one of the things that connected me with you as well. I felt like, I don't know, it takes a certain kind of person to be there, to want to be a mentor, to want to do that outreach. And so I just kind of knew you was my people by that. Between that and the passion for music, I just had a feeling.
For real. So, yeah. And that's how we connected. Yup. And I saw you at a hyphen event, and we had a good time there. And just good stuff. Milwaukee is at that point where I think it's ready to take that next step.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like we're getting noticed now.
Yes.
I feel like we're finally at a spot where we're coming together. Like, yes, we still have our own little separate cliques, but the thing is, you'll find us all in the same rooms now, supporting each other at each other's shows, whether it's somebody in your immediate group or not. Like, and it's all love. We just have a good time. I think that's so dope.
I don't know if you heard, I did a show on 88.9 a couple weeks ago, and I played an artist, Tori MF Zoe. Good dude, real nice artist. And I was like, hey, he needs to collabo with KB.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I obviously you weren't listening to
us,
but I think
I give myself away.
No, I'm gonna connect that most definitely. So I said, I was like, those 2 artists need to definitely connect, collabo, do some music together because I think it would be dope. So I'm gonna put that connection. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in motion. Most definitely.
I'm gonna check him out.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Emmett James also. Emmett James.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I
probably
met him
know
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Most
he's
definitely
dope at what he does.
Yeah. So yeah, just Hyphen's gonna have a lot more events and things like that, and I think there's some things coming down the pipe where myself and Anthony A. Biz, we're gonna host an event for Hyphen in August.
Okay.
So we'll put that information out there, and yeah, that's where people can come together and collabo and talk about collaboing, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great networking opportunity.
There it is. That's what it's all about.
It
networking.
Really is networking.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
That's really what got me where I am. Honestly, I just been networking since day one, whether I thought my music was good at the time or not.
Come on.
Like I just been networking since the beginning, and as over time my music has gotten better as well. So I'm in a spot where if I want to push what I'm working on now, I have those connections in those outlets that will help me be able to do it.
I always tell my students to do that. Network, talk to people, walk up to people, talk to them, let them know who you are when you enter a room, when you enter a space. Let people know who you are.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'm saying? And don't leave there without getting their information. LinkedIn is crazy. Instagram is crazy. You know, all this stuff has us connected in every way. And it, you know, it can continue on. So yeah, that's what I say. I preach that. So the good stuff. Good stuff, KB. Yes. All right. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I want to ask you, who is Kendall Bell? Who is KB? Where'd you grow up at? Like what, you know, all that good stuff.
Okay. I am a whole compilation of many things.
Okay.
So I was born in New Jersey, but South Jersey. So it's like rural, a lot of farmland, you know, like the same 5 families intermingling and marrying each other, and everybody, everywhere you go, you meet a cousin that you didn't know you had a week ago. So yeah, so yeah, I'm from like that town. About half hour, 45 minutes away was Atlantic City. And so like I would go to the shore a lot, spent a lot of time at the beach as a kid. So I still have like an affinity for water. I just feel drawn to it. Like I need to be by water.
No doubt.
So like Michigan is comforting for me for that reason. But yeah, so I was about 7 years old when we moved to Pennsylvania. We stayed there for a little while. It was really cool because there are a lot of cultures that intermingled in that area.
Gotcha.
I knew like a lot of Arabs, and there are Black people, white people, people of Latin descent, just people of African descent. It was just a very awesome thing to be able to see all of these different communities, and to have close friends of different races. I feel like it's helped me to understand the world better today, and it's helped form me into who I am today.
Definitely. That's great.
And so when I lived in Pennsylvania, we lived in like Lehigh Valley, so it was kind of surrounded by mountains. And then when the summer I turned 13, we moved here because my dad actually he works for Rockwell Automation. So we got transferred out here since this is the headquarters. And then I've just become a Milwaukee girl mixed with a East Coast girl. And yeah, I'm a little bit of everything. Let's see what else I can tell you. I do come from like a pretty religious background. I can say that I feel like I've become more of myself within the past few years. And it's no shade to religion or anything. Just I feel like personally, I needed to do some soul searching and find out what my passions were, who I was, what my mindset was.
That's real.
So yeah, I've done that, and I've been through a lot that I have put into music.
And I'm sorry.
Ahead. No, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna ask. You mentioned growing up in a religious background. Did the music come into play like in church, or was that
not so much? Because it was never much of a emphasis of our services. Like we would sing in between like sections of it, but like from a songbook, and like, you know, just the whole the whole congregation would be singing.
Gotcha.
So I guess it does kind of come into play, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing that 3-4 times a week.
Right.
Yeah.
It does have
yeah, and since a child, I just always was interested in writing, poetry. I always expressed myself through writing since the time I was very young. Like my mom has notes that she's kept, that she's found of mine, of me just writing to myself about how I feel. And
really?
In high school, I would have teachers. Okay, so when we moved here to Wisconsin, we moved to Menominee Falls.
Okay.
So it was a culture shock to come here from where I came from in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then even in New Jersey, it wasn't quite what it was here either.
Right.
Wisconsin, Milwaukee, one of the most segregated cities in the U.S. So that, like, it was very much a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
Because it was either there's white people here, there's black people here, there's like the South side, which is mostly like the Mexican and Latin side. And so it was just very strange that depending on where you were in the city, like there would be only one type of person.
Crazy.
And I know that that's kind of every city has its sections that are predominantly because of where people settled.
True.
But the thing is, Wisconsin is different because it's like those boundaries haven't been broken yet.
That's right.
In a way,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I never knew how segregated it was. I guess I didn't do enough research before moving here. But once I moved here, I was like, wow, the segregation is real.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the diversity?
Right.
Coming from Chicago, like the north side, you know, and like you said, each city has its own pocket, I guess, of segregation in certain areas, like the south side of Chicago, west side of Chicago, but the north side is more diverse. You know what I'm saying? And then out in the suburbs, certain suburbs, south suburbs of Illinois, Chicago, or south suburbs of Chicago are a little black, but some white people sprinkled in, you know what I'm saying? Depending on what South Holland and Harvey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the northwest suburbs, Schaumburg, Carroll Stream, is more white people with a few black folks, you know, sprinkled in. So yeah, it's Milwaukee. I did not know how segregated, but we need to somehow work our way up out of that.
Very much.
Yeah, I know we're trying.
Right, we are.
You know,
I feel like we're in a better place than we were 5 or 10 years ago.
Facts.
I feel like people are actually starting to educate themselves a little bit more about people other than those like them.
Facts.
And so I feel like that's going to contribute to coming together more.
Yeah.
So we can actually address the big issues versus, you know, separate, keeping ourselves separate. It just doesn't really make sense, because when we come together, there's a lot more change that can happen.
That's real.
So
that's real. So all right. On the strength of that, you said Menominee Falls. Did you go to high school in Menominee Falls?
I did.
Okay.
And so it was mostly white. And then it was like the kids in my neighborhood whose parents were doing pretty good for themselves, and like the neighborhoods right around me.
Yeah.
And then it was the kids that like were in the program where they came from like the inner city.
Okay.
And that was like a handful of kids that were busted. It was definitely extremely cliquey.
Yeah.
I did notice at that point in time, I graduated high school in 2011. So that was still like a good 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, clearly the world has changed since, but I can tell you when I went to school there, a lot of the white kids kind of only wanted to mess with the white kids. And I feel like it was they were afraid of what they didn't know.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you would have the black kids in my neighborhood who would try a little bit too hard to fit in with the white kids sometimes.
Yeah.
And then that's just kind of how it was. But I was always just low key, but cool with everybody at the same time. I mostly stuck to myself, but people knew who I was and I was friendly. And I just laid low and got out of there because I wasn't a fan of school either.
You know,
I was just not a school person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's great. Like, I'm going to talk a little bit like my high school. I guess my high school years were just whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny meeting students now and I'm having my introduction meetings with my students now that just graduated high school. And I'm like, are you going to miss high school? And a lot of them are like, well, nah, not really. Like I met with some students yesterday, and I think all 3 of them or whatever were like, nah, I'm just looking forward. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? We ain't looking back. We looking forward.
I can tell you I never missed high school a day in my life.
I'm saying.
A lot of people will say they missed it. Never in my life did I, not a day after I graduated.
I mean, I love the people who love their high school and, you know, still like, you know, 55 years old. They're like, yo, Riverside University High School. Yeah, I'm like, all right. Like, nah, that you're not going to hear that from me. Like, you would not hear that from me. Like, I got up out of there. You feel me? I'm like headed straight forward, and oh yeah. Like, but I love those people who do that. I just wish, and sometimes I'm like, dang, I didn't connect with my high school, even college. I'm like, all right, Illinois State, all right, I'm a Redbird, cool, but you know, growing up in Cleveland, I'm an Ohio State fan. And I shouldn't say that too loud living in Wisconsin, but I mean, you know, I'm not like, I don't have that crazy connection. I'm like, did I not do as much as I should have when I was in college? Because like I said, when I went to Illinois State, it was like, put your head down and get done. NSU, Norfolk State, I was more, obviously, you know, it's a HBCU, so I was all in the streets and doing my thing, and never pledged a fraternity, but thought about it a couple times, but never did it. So I wasn't that tapped into school at all.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you probably just knew that you were worrying about your future versus living in the moment.
You know what I'm saying? Just get done. Yeah. All right. So KB, let me ask you this. What was the first song that you had produced that you put out?
That I put out?
Yeah.
It was that I released?
That you released.
It was actually Speak On It.
Speak On, okay. Yeah. That's what's up.
And it's funny because that song, it opened up me actually really tapping into my artistry.
Yeah.
And I say that because of the fact that I was actually very afraid to basically like come out as an artist.
Yeah.
Because of like the community that I came from, partly I was afraid I was going to be judged for it.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I can say that I did have like a lot of people, like hundreds of people unfollow me after like starting to post about music a bit more.
Really?
Yeah.
Word.
So that was a hump I got over. That actually was very emotional for me because it's like I have like some of the people were people I knew since like I was a kid, you know? So it's like, well, I guess people come and go, and then you just make room for the people who are like, I guess, vibrating where you're vibrating in the moment. And let the people come who are supposed to be in your life, and those who are here to support you.
That's it.
So,
that's real.
Yeah. But Speak On It was my first song.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to drop it for a long time. I feel like I was sending it to you guys, to 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. This is actually this was around the time you started working on them. But I started sending it to them kind of as internal validation for myself. And then I guess like Dory Zori one day was just like, oh, this is great. We're going to play it.
Dory.
And then they did.
Okay. Yep.
And then I still, after that, was afraid to actually release it. I still didn't even release it after you guys started playing it.
Really?
For like a year. Until there was a moment where you guys did The Light, the Hone.
Yes.
Where you were syncing songs from 88.9 to
Saturday.
The Lights of the Hone Bridge.
Yeah.
And I was tagged in an Instagram post that Speak On It was one of those songs. Yeah. And I was just like, wait a minute. Oh, my song is really out there. Yeah. Like, it's out there. People are really on the radio listening to it and looking at the bridge. Like, if it's out there, then I might as well just put it out there for real. So,
let's go. And
from then, I just started growing in my confidence a little bit, becoming more secure in who I am and who I am as an artist. So, yeah.
I think I've done it. That's on Saturday nights, right?
I believe so.
Like the whole, because I filled in for Kenny Perez, DJ KP, Kenny Perez, a couple Saturdays, and I think your song, it was one of the times I filled in for him that I played it. the Light the Home. Yup.
Uh-huh.
Yup. And I was like, 'cause not knowing what that was, you know, I was like, okay, I'm filling in for Kenny. And then said Light the Home. I was like, I think I asked Dory, I had to hit up Dory, like, yo, what am I doing? Yeah, like, can you give me some background?
Yeah.
So she told me what that was. And yeah, I think your song was one of the songs on there. One of the times I filled in, and yeah, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Just went from there.
So
Yep. That's dope. That's dope. So, okay, speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, your second song that you released,
it was Dive.
Dive.
Yes.
What's Dive about? What was your inspiration for
So, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like most artists, I have extreme trust issues.
Okay. Yep.
So, I kind of wrote about, it was really basically about my trust issues. And if like people who kind of wanted to get close to me, want to get in my life a little bit. So I'm kind of questioning, like, what are your intentions? Are you going to like make me cry or make me emotional? Because I'm a very emotional person, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another song that I was just writing my feelings. That's really all I do. I write my feelings in the moment. So, yeah.
Well, I hope you weren't looking at me like, yo, what does this dude want from me? You know what I'm saying?
Never.
All right, cool.
I'm also a very good reader of people.
Same.
Read a character, read an energy, and you never gave me no bad vibes. Only good vibes from Chris Alexander.
Let's go. So. That's all I try to bring. Like I said, fun, love, motivation. That's all I want to do. But all right. So I said something earlier about Tori and Zoe collaboing. If you could choose any artist here in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, to collabo with, who would you choose? Let me say two people who's still here. He's still here. All right, one who's still here, and another one who's probably here, one who's not. Is not.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I think everybody would say Lakia because
true.
I mean, it's Lakia.
Killing it.
So,
yeah.
She is not here anymore, though.
True.
So, somebody who is local, whose talent I really value. That's interesting because I feel like lately I've been working with all the people that I've been wanting to work with. I'm working on a couple projects right now.
Okay.
So, I've been making a lot of connections and have been working on collaborations.
More music coming.
But let me think of who I haven't yet, who I would love to.
Let me see, who can I throw out some names?
Seriously.
I mentioned Tori. I mentioned Emmett James.
Mo City. Have you heard of him?
I think.
Have you heard of Camp Shuttlesworth?
No. Wait. No.
I gotta introduce you to them.
Yeah, you
they're
do.
Dope, and they're good people all around.
Yeah.
And they're just like a whole little collective, and they're doing their thing for real right now.
I wonder because
shout out Camp Shuttlesworth.
Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I wonder because we play a lot of different things, and sometimes, you know, I'm in there and I'm just like, it's just like, all right, let me get this. Who is it? You know, and but some other artists. And not to downplay anyone's art because it's all dope.
Yeah.
And I think I always on every show I say like we got to continue discovering Milwaukee music and saluting and celebrating Milwaukee music and artists.
Because I feel like we aren't celebrated enough.
I'm saying
there's a reason our scene is so slept on.
Let's go. Now, if anyone wants to get some music in, like Kendall said, she submitted.
My God.
You know what I'm saying? 889 hyphen. You can submit music to hyphen.org. There we have a tab where you can submit music or hit me up on Instagram, Chris on Air 1. Let's go. And me and Kendall go back and forth on IG a lot, just talking, you know, tripping out about certain things. And you bring a lot to IG too. Like you said some things that kind of opened my eyes and had me thinking, just some good stuff. You said it was a while back. I think I said this on air too. I think there was something that happened. Just your motivation is dope. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And I think I look for people that are on that motivation tip that are really out there doing things. Cause you know, it's people out there talking about, you know, you should make sure to do this and that. And then they ain't even doing it themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're not practicing what they preach, but I see that in you. So I was like, okay, let me check. So I check out your stories and stuff like that and all that. And you know, your posts and stuff, and it's really dope. It's uplifting. So
thank you. Yes. Yeah, I try to not really create an image. I know, like as an artist, you kind of have to have an image, but I feel like my image is just genuinely who I am because I honestly feel like that's dope enough to I don't know, to get me places, to make impact on people, make an impact on the world.
True.
So that's really all I'm looking to do, honestly.
You
And
know,
I'm kind of just using music as an avenue. People
love
listen
that.
to music.
see, a lot of us have gone through things and are still going through certain things. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something else. Like that's why I do certain things, because you know we've all been through things, but I've been through some things, and I try to preach that through All in Milwaukee. I also have, it's called the Black Male Initiative, where I created a group for all the black males within the program, and basically to give us a safe space to sit down and talk about being black in America, but also being black at predominantly white institutions. You know what I'm saying? And we can just kind of share ideas of how we navigate the campus, how what they do, what they need to, you know, do in class and stuff like that. I'm thinking of changing the name. I don't think I want to put it out there yet, but you know, I think it's more than an initiative. It's like, this is a standalone, like, it's not an initiative. You know what I'm saying? This is something that's needed. So the black male something is out there for all my black males to, you know, to come together for leadership, for mentorship and things like that. So,
I think that safe space is so important to have. So I applaud that you do that.
Seriously. Seriously. And it's not just them, it's my young black women as well. I'm trying to get something for them, along with, you know, just everyone within the program. So just trying to do our thing.
That's dope.
You know,
we need more people like you in the community,
and like you, KB.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important for people like us to get together and for us to, I guess, say what we have to say out to the public, so that we can build the community of people who are trying to do, you know, the same
Great things.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So, what made you want to do a podcast, KB?
So kind of like what we were talking about. I feel like our creative community could use some highlighting. And I just think I've made such a great network since I started making music and started really being out there and letting people know what I do. And I just really wanted to highlight that community and just, you know, bring some attention to it, and even just bring attention to the issues as well. So,
okay.
Yeah. Also, just to have some fun with it too.
Let's go, no doubt.
Talk to my friends.
Hey, yeah. I love it. All right, let me ask you one question. One more question.
Okay.
If you could live anywhere, where would that be? Or are you living in the place where you want to be, your destination? No, okay.
No, Milwaukee is a stop.
Okay.
It's not a destination.
All right.
To be quite honest, I don't even want to live in the country.
Really?
Yes. So I'd probably explore South America a little bit.
Oh,
maybe Costa Rica.
Really?
Somewhere with beaches and islands and rainforests.
Funny you would say that.
Be my most natural self.
Yeah, one of my students just went to Costa Rica on the study abroad program. Yeah.
Okay.
And he sent me the pictures. I'm like, dude, I wish that I could do a study abroad. You know what I'm saying? Like, just right now, where, you know, working. Like, I'm studying abroad.
That'd be great.
That would be dope. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I like that.
All right.
Yeah, I think the same with me. Something like Costa Rica. I think Costa Rica. Okay. Yeah. It's just.
Would your wife be down with that? Maybe.
Who cares? I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. Let me stop. Yeah.
Okay.
Take a trip. So that's what's up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me today. It was a great conversation.
Thank you for having me,
Absolutely.
KB. This was dope. KB.
So he was one of my day ones. So I figured, why not make him a day one with the podcast too?
Always.
Day one musically, day one now with my podcasting debut. So
it's gonna continue.
Yeah. So keep watching. We got a lot more coming, a lot more guests, special co-hosts, and we appreciate you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Talk to you next time.
Let's go.